Thanks for joining us for this episode of Coffee with Closers, where business leaders share insights on how to build businesses from the ground up and best practices for innovating in their industry.
Hey Joel, thanks for joining me. I certainly appreciate the opportunity to interview you.
Thank you for the opportunity. Good to be here.
Yeah, most certainly. And so the audience that don't know about you, can you share a little bit about who you are?
Sure. My name is Joel Schneider. I'm a founder and president of Liberty Technology Advisors. We're based in Northbrook, Illinois. The company was founded almost 25 years ago to help mid-market manufacturing, distribution, and other companies really improve their business performance, improve their efficiencies, their processes, and their systems.
That's a mouthful that you provide for your customers. So tell me, how exactly are you able to do that for them?
So our approach is to understand the business, the issues, the concerns, the problems, all around IT. But as opposed to other companies that just look at IT, we want to look at it holistically. What are the true issues? Are they having problems with their inventory? Do they have too much inventory? Are they running out of stock? Are they not measuring capacity? Manufacturing planning, purchasing. What are the things that they need to improve to truly improve their business performance? It could be efficiencies on the plant floor. It could be the front office, could be back office, could be sales and marketing. So what we do is we help our clients put together an overall plan to improve their business operations. And then the key to a good plan is one that can be successfully implemented. So we help our clients implement the plan. So that's what we do for our clients. And we do that all around the country. We used to be just a Chicago-based organization, and now we have clients throughout the United States, from California to New York, from Florida, all the way in Canada. As a matter of fact, we have a number of clients that are based internationally as well.
Awesome to hear. So obviously you're working with a lot of companies, specifically in the manufacturing sector. What have you observed just working with these guys? What are some of the common trends that you've seen them continue to do?
So the common things in manufacturing has always been about how to produce the product that they produce on schedule, meet the customer demand at the lowest cost. And it's always been a challenge because supply chains have gotten more complex, and technology is an enabler to improve that. Too many companies we see throw technology at a problem, and it's not solving the problem. So the things that we see is companies don't manage their supply chain. Their purchasing is not aligned with production capacity. Inventory is not in control. They might have too much or too little. If you have too little, you can't make your product and you're not going to meet customer demand. If you have too much inventory, you're going to spend too much money and tie up your capital in inventory that won't be used or might go obsolete. And then from a financial standpoint, we see too many companies not integrating the different areas of the company. Manufacturing, finance, sales and marketing, all together into one system. And you don't need one system to do it. You can have a separate finance system or manufacturing as long as you plan for the integration. Too many companies say, we're just a manufacturing company, don't worry about finance. Well, finance is important because it's going to be the core that collects the information. So you just think holistically through that process.
And from the companies that you've seen to implement some of these technology to enable them to grow and scale, what kind of challenges you ran into in terms of adoption and things of that nature?
The adoption challenges comes from you have to find the right system to meet your needs. As an independent consulting firm, we want to make sure we help our clients find the right solution that meets those needs. 2, the adoption has to do with improving your business processes in conjunction with the implementation of that solution. And the third component of that is the ability to affect change management, or changing user behavior, or how people do their work. People are people, they're difficult to deal with, and people have insecurities and feelings, and they want to make sure this is the right thing for their career. With the proper technology, improved processes, demonstrate to people how this is going to help their career. They're going to grow, they're going to learn, and most people do want to learn. Most people do want to grow. So if we could change those behaviors, the adoption goes up. Adoption rates go down, and system projects fail when you fail to take into consideration change management and people. So our job is to combine people, process, and technology, and that's how a company can truly scale and really improve their efficiencies.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's a lot of component of it, because I've been kind of in the technology space myself, and I've seen, because we help on the sales and marketing side, and technology adoption is a critical function, because you can have the best technology in the marketplace, but if they don't fully integrate into the organization and start utilizing it, you don't get the full value of that investment, right? So what were some of the things you've done very critical to some of these companies really succeeding in adoption of that? Obviously, you're helping on the process side. Like, so tell me, like, what are the things you've done to make sure that the people that work there were actually adapting those?
So you still have to have a great technology foundation. You still have to re-engineer your business processes. And the people side is all about communications. So change management is not some magic science that's out there. It's all about communications. You communicate early, you communicate often, and throughout the process. You have to make it general and personal. So change management is all about how top management, senior top management, the leaders of the company, communicate to everyone involved what this project is, the importance of the project, the importance of the company, how it's going to help the company succeed, and how it will help you grow within the company. So if you look at change management, it's all about the communication standpoint. And you communicate way before you even kick off the project. If you have a plan, you're going to start the communication at the beginning of the process, not just at that kickoff meeting, or not during the implementation, or not during training of that software. By then it's too late. You have to start in the very beginning. So senior management must kick off the project, communicate in writing, you do it in newsletters, you do it on bulletin boards, you do it on your intranet. There's a million different ways to communicate. All are effective.
And technology is definitely a big enabler in terms of scaling and obviously, you know, in terms of getting competitive advantage. What are some of the trends you're seeing for companies who haven't really adapted? I mean, with all the pressures of the economy, and then also with all the changes that are happening with our regulations, what are some of the things that you're seeing that's probably going to happen for some of our manufacturing companies in the U.S.?
So manufacturing in the U.S. is, first, it's strong. It's very strong. It's not weak, and it's growing. So what we see manufacturing doing today is to figure out how they can continue to grow. And the key for them is to continue to manage costs, collect information, and have that information that you could actually interpret and take action on. So you're not looking to collect data. You want to turn data into information into knowledge, and knowledge so you could take some action on that. So that's the key thing. So you're still going to manage your costs. The other thing about manufacturing is sales and marketing is still important for manufacturing companies. You're not just making this table. You have to find a way to increase your top line. So sales and marketing systems that are integrated with that core enterprise resource planning, or ERP system, is critical to everything. And get everyone on board. You know, one of the key things we see when companies do a technology initiative is they view it as an IT project. When we come in, these are not IT projects. IT is core and critical to make this a success. But these are business-led initiatives. A new manufacturing system, a new finance system, a new CRM system. This is all about how the business is going to help be better. So they must be run by the business. So the biggest thing we do is when we kick off a project is make sure the governance is in place, we have the leaders in place, the project sponsor, the project manager, and make sure IT has a seat at that table. So it's all about project organization, project governance. Everyone must be part of this. Too many times we see IT running these projects, and it usually is not a recipe for success. It's a big difference. It's a big difference.
Yeah, and I think there's like 100 questions going through my mind because I have similar experience when we're talking about implementing, you know, sales and marketing automation technology, or even refreshing a website. And now IT has everything to do with the security and all that stuff, which has completely nothing concerns them at all in terms of security and all that, right? But I don't want to go that route. But I think you touched earlier on, you mentioned like manufacturing companies that kind of underestimate the power of sales and marketing in the equation of technology adoption. So why do you say that?
Most companies view themselves, most manufacturing companies view themselves as manufacturing. Now they've always sold. You always need a sales force out there. But sales and marketing systems, you know, CRM, marketing automation, whatever you want to call it, enables them to be more productive and to do more things and to bring inbound opportunities, so you don't need a salesperson to knock on that door, send an email, make a phone call. If you could get people to come to you, you're much more powerful and you have more opportunity. So that's the power of a marketing automation system. Manufacturing companies are learning to adopt marketing automation so they can be more successful. Provides them the ability to grow without adding people. Scale is all about growing a company without a one-to-one relationship with adding people. That's what you're trying to do. That's the enabling part of technology. You could have a company that does 1x, 2x, 3x without adding that same factor of people by putting in technology that meets your needs and improving your business processes. And if you do those together, you've really got something going on. So it's the ability to bring in opportunities. So it's that inbound marketing and sales opportunities.
Makes sense. So when you're talking with organizations, how are you trying to find the areas where there's an opportunity for improvement or enhancement? Like what's that process look like when you're engaging with the top leadership team?
So our process is all about organizing the project up front and getting what we call a cross-functional team on the project team. We want to meet with not just IT, we want to meet with the head of finance, head of sales, operations, purchasing, inventory. We meet with shipping guys, receiving guys, the warehouse guys. We meet with all the different procurement, supply chain, all the different functional areas of the business. We meet with them individually and together, and we learn about their needs and requirements. The best part about getting a group together in the room at the same time, cross-functional, is most companies don't do it. So if you have a conference room and you talk about a business process, you understand what people do and how they do it and why they do it, and now you can understand and gain better ways to improve it. Quick example, when you do a business process session, by definition, most companies think a business process is by department. I have an accounts payable workflow or accounts payable business process, accounts receivable, purchasing, order entry, shipping, etc. That's the wrong way to look at it. So our approach is different. We believe that a business process, by definition, spans departments. So if you get the different departments in the room at the same time and map out the process, you'll find out it touches everybody. And now you could truly make dramatic improvements to the business process. Now marry that with an ERP system that has great capabilities, but you want to have that ERP system mapped to your improved processes, not how you've done it for the last 30 years. That's what we see out there. Our approach is to find better ways to do that and have that ERP system or CRM system or warehouse management system or e-commerce system, whatever that is, mirror those improved processes and configure it that way. So our approach is collaborative, get everyone in a room at the same time, map those processes, document a better way to do that, and at the same time, we have the software vendor or software VAR, that value-added reseller, involved in that process at the same time. You will find that the implementation will go smoother, faster, with better results, and now the people are on board at the same time because the people designing the new ways of doing things are part of the process. So think about that change management that we talked about earlier. It's all baked into the process.
Makes sense. You've been at this for quite some time. You said you'll be 25 years in October since this business was started. Obviously some lessons learned in the process. So what are some highlights? What are some things that you in the last 25 years that you've learned from building and running a business?
Well, there's no shortage of mistakes we've made. Let me tell you that. We've made every mistake in the book, and we probably could write another book about the mistakes that we've made. What we've learned is business is about relationships. So to get business is about relationships. Don't forget to exceed your client's expectations every step of the way and deliver outstanding client service. But the key lessons we've learned is hire great people, ask great questions during the recruiting process, and make sure that you have a culture that people are part of. So we believe at LTA that we're one team, we all pitch in, we all do work, we're all billable, and we all are trying to contribute to the success of the company. From mistakes, truly, we've made every mistake in the book. When most of them are in sales and marketing. Like I said before, we're not a sales and marketing company. We don't have sales professionals on our team. We're all professionals who happen to have to sell because we have to continue the business. So we've hired salespeople and assumed that they were just going to go out and knock it out of the park and bring in dozens and dozens of clients. that doesn't happen. So we've gone through too many salespeople, we've spent too much money without thinking through our own processes. We're shoemaker's sons. So the mistakes we've made is we've done the things that we tell our clients not to do. But we've learned over time, and now we've put in some automation in our own company. We have a CRM system, a marketing automation system. We've put in our own ERP system. So we're able to track our employees' time and expenses in real time. So we could better manage our projects. So those are some of the things we've done. We've actually done what we do to our clients to ourselves.
Prior to us having this conversation earlier, you've mentioned in the last 20-some years how sales was done when you started the business is not how the sales and marketing is done today. Describe that, what that change looked like. So
20 years ago or 24 years ago when we started the business, it was 100% a relationship-based model. There was no internet back then. We had a website, but it was just one page out there that had our address and phone number. It might have had an email address, I don't remember. It was all done on a relationship. It was, we met somebody, we then took them to lunch, we learned about them, their company, what makes them tick, their families, to develop a relationship. We still do that today. The difference is with the advent of technology and primarily the internet, we're able to do the same thing, but we're able to reach more people. We have people that reach us versus us reaching them. So we have more reach, and that's how we become national in scope, but we're still a relationship-based organization. Even if we get an opportunity, whether it's in New York or California or anywhere in between, we will still get on an airplane or we'll drive to meet them because it's still a relationship sale. It's still a relationship. People buy from people that they like and trust. So we want to develop that relationship.
Makes sense. You mentioned you had implemented HubSpot, marketing automation, CRM, ERP system, but specifically what else had to happen within the organization to increase that reach beyond the local community of businesses that you were dealing with?
Two things. One, we had to believe in it ourselves. We had to believe digital marketing was real, it's going to work. As the president of the company, I was the biggest individual who put my own barriers up there. I'm a true believer in this. This is the way to go. To get back to your core question, what do we have to do? We have to truly embrace digital marketing, embrace what it can do for you, and continue to invest in it. It's bigger ROI in digital marketing than hiring a team of salespeople or business development people throughout the country.
And obviously you've invested money into technology and all that kind of stuff. How has that increased the reach and also in terms of the results that you're seeing as well? Like, can you provide some specifics on some of the things that you've been able to accomplish with those kind of initiatives?
Without it, we would not be able to scale where we're at today. We would not have our internal processes. Our reach would not be there. Our contacts and our referral network is much greater with digital marketing. Specific examples would be making sure our SEO is up to date, make sure when people put in keywords, we're there. Not on a paid way. We do some paid, but not just on a paid way, organic search. And then when we get those opportunities, when they fill out a form or they reach out via telephone, we follow up and we still meet them. So we've got clients in New York via digital marketing efforts, which has been very successful. In Michigan, digital marketing efforts. Down in the Caribbean, we're working with an opportunity that way, and in California. So our local firm that's based here in Chicagoland now has a reach nationally, which we were unable to do 5 years ago. Absolutely unable to do 5 years ago. It's a true game changer for a small consulting company that's looking to grow, and we've been growing every year, but it's a true game changer.
And obviously having a technology gave you much more visibility into where these leads come from, how they ended up on your side, and how they became an opportunity.
Well, think about it from the manufacturing side. We put in systems for manufacturing to track things. You could track a part through the supply chain, the cost through the supply chain, the labor, a machine, everything. Internally, we're now tracking where our leads come from, what those keywords are, what web pages they go to, what web pages they stop at, where they actually read our blogs, they attend our webinars. The data we're capturing enables us to have a better conversation with our potential clients. So it's not just, hey, I see you looked at your website. We're now engaging with them on specific topics that are important to them, and that's what we want to do. It's the data that we're collecting is incredible.
What are some of the other lessons you've learned, obviously, in running a company, for over 20 for some years? Like, what are some additional lessons other than sales and marketing related?
The biggest issues are making sure that you have good people, like I said before. I don't want to go too deep into every mistake we've made. The biggest opportunity versus looking at a mistake is thinking that one person can do it all. As an entrepreneur, I used to think we could just do it all. Just roll up your sleeves, work 8 hours a day, then 12 hours a day, then 14 hours a day, and 16 hours a day. In the world of consulting, you want to create some type of leverage model. So the biggest mistake we made for the first number of years, in probably 20 years, was not looking at the business from a scalable perspective. So we invested in people to offload work specifically from me so I could do the things to actually grow the company, as opposed to me waking up in the morning and putting in 8 hours of billable time and then another 8 hours working on the business, whether it's sales, marketing, finance, paying bills, paying our rent, making sure payroll is run, cash management. If you could leverage that and bring in people that do sales, marketing, finance, our controller, that offloaded work from me, and as soon as we did that, we actually charted and found the company more profitable. What we charted was the relationship between my personal billable hours and profitability. And what I found out was when we added resources to the company and my billable hours went down, profitability went up because I was doing the things that I needed to do to run the business. That's the biggest lesson we learned. Don't do it all. Bring on people to your team to make sure you do, as the owner of the company or the entrepreneur, the person who's leading the company, be more successful. So in consulting, we sell billable hours. And I thought the more billable hours I had, the better. I've got a team of people around me. I don't need to be 8 billable hours every day. I need to lead the company, grow the business, make sure we have the right people, the right skills, the right talent, the right training programs, and we have our finance group together, our sales and marketing group together to grow the company. That's the biggest lesson. Leverage and doing what you need to do to grow the business. My billable hours are very low today. I might have, maybe 6 or 8 in a week, hours in a week. But yet the company is more profitable and we're growing and we're more scalable because my role, which is now more defined, is all about leading and growing the company, not necessarily putting in billable hours. So it's a great differentiator when we actually charted that. I thought it would be the opposite.
The big question is obviously, to make that transition, right? To be able to entrust people to do things that you were controlling and doing before. That's a very tough decision for an entrepreneur.
So the biggest issue that I think any entrepreneur has is not management, it's delegation. Because every entrepreneur thinks they could do that job better than anybody else. So it's all about delegation.
I'm guilty of that.
Right. So if you give a person a task or they become the controller or sales and marketing, whether it's putting together a one-page sales and marketing piece, doing our finances, doing payroll, you think you could do it better than anybody else. So the ability to delegate and let them do their job, they're going to make mistakes. My role, your role, is to lead them. And that's the big difference.
Yeah,
Lead and manage
leading
them.
is, exactly.
Right.
It's the tough part, especially as an entrepreneur. And a smaller organization is even harder because you have people playing multiple roles in some organizations.
Correct.
So and you're afraid, like, hey, will they drop this ball if I give them another one?
Correct.
Right? And then you have that fear, and
Correct.
it kind of limits your scalability.
Here's an example that's going on right now. We're moving our offices. In the past, if we moved our office, I would say, oh my God, we have to move our office. I've got to find new space. I've got to negotiate the deal with the new landlord. I got to hire a moving company. I got to make sure they take apart every desk. What's the new floor plan going to look like? And it would consume much of my time. My time should not be about that. My time should be about how am I going to grow the company, work on the business, not in the business, and find new business, do business development, manage relationships, both internally and externally, and grow the business. That's delegation. You just need to provide that oversight to make that happen. It's a huge differentiator.
What are some of the things that worked in your personal life that helped you to expand that vision and expand that view of what's possible with your resources and how to do more delegation and elevating internal resources? How did you come to that realization, and how did you get to that kind of a viewpoint?
So you talk about lessons learned. I think we've all gone to business school or gone to seminars or peer groups where they preach to grow the company, you need to delegate, you need to manage, you need to bring on resources. It doesn't happen the first time because you hear it and go, that's right, but you don't do it. And then you go to the next peer group session, a CEO group session, you hear it and you go, I know I need to do that, but I'm not ready for it yet. It takes time for you to convince yourself it's the right thing to do. Once you do, you have to jump into the deep end and make it happen. Don't put your toes in the water. Convince yourself, make sure it's the right thing to do, get the right people, and then go in the deep end, because if you put your toes in the water, you're not actually committed to it. So commit to it. Just like we tell our clients, commit to this project, or don't commit to this project, but we have to be all in on this.
You're running a business, you have, obviously you don't do a lot of billable hours, but you focus on the growth of the organization, the leading of the people. So what are some of the productivity hacks you've adapted over the years to be productive with your day and time? Like, what are some of the things that you do to be efficient?
Boy, that is the number one question of the day. How do you manage your time? Time is the only thing we can never get back, right? So you have to manage your time so well nowadays because there's only so much of it. You literally can't work 18 hours a day, 7 days a week. You need time off, you need to refresh your brain, you need time away. Vacations are important. So everyone's different. There's tools out there to help you manage your time. I still manage my time every day by knowing what I'm going to do every day. These are my appointments for the day. This is what I got to get done today, and I always look at it in a forward 1 week schedule. Here's the tasks, here's the projects, and here's the initiatives I want to get done on a 1 week moving forward basis. I actually write those down, and every day I look at them and go, I need to get this done by Friday. So I'm always thinking in advance of what I'm trying to get done. Tasks are easy, you could check them off, you could do whatever you want, but you always want to look at how to manage your own time to get the important things done. I mean, we all read Stephen Covey's book. So it's a good book. It's about 20 years old, maybe even older than that. You want to make sure you work on the important tasks, the ones that are going to make a difference.
So in the years that you've worked in the business, built it to where it is today, that you have a lot more flexibility, freedom, that you can work less hours in terms of the billable hours and focus heavily on just the growth and leadership of it. If you had to do it again, what are some of the things that you would do different than how you've done it in the last 20-some years?
That's a good question. We can always look back, right? We can always look back at all the different things you've done. Here's the things that what I find kind of fun to look back at. Are they mistakes? Yes. But as an entrepreneur, I'm not afraid to try anything. I've tried lots of different things. I've started lots of different businesses over the years. Obviously, most have not succeeded. They've failed. So what I would do is stick with your knitting, if you will. Stick with what you know best and make sure you've got that core competency on how you could grow. I'm proud to say I've tried probably a half a dozen companies over the past 20 years. I think everyone except one has not been successful. But that's okay because you learn through failing. So I'm okay with that. I really am.
Makes sense.
It's cost money, it's cost time, it diverted some attention away from LTA over the years, but I've learned that LTA is the core. It's the services we do. It's a great business. We do great work for our clients, but an entrepreneur is an entrepreneur. Entrepreneur.
We're always seeing opportunities everywhere you look. You see a challenge and you're like, wow, I could
do that.
Yeah.
Correct. And some unmet need.
Exactly. So here's another question that I have for you. You had $1 million or you had an opportunity to spend a day with Warren Buffett. Which would you choose?
That's a tough one. I think that's different depending on where you are in your life. I mean, if I'm 20 years old, $1 million might be different from a 60-year-old $1 million. I'm at the point where I'm trying to learn and absorb as much as I can. So I would probably take an hour or two with Warren Buffett today. Yeah, or Bill Gates, or even people who have started entrepreneurial companies on a shoestring and made them successful. So I want to learn from people who said, what are the risks you took to say, I could do this? When I started LTA 24 years ago, I started with 0 clients and 0 money. And I sublet an office from a real estate guy who had an extra office in his building. Literally an office, not an office suite. I mean an office, a room. It had a desk and a chair. I borrowed money. I bought a computer. I got an email address from AOL back 24 years ago, and I had no clients. So that's the kind of stuff that's really exciting. So what did people do 20 years ago that said, I want to do this? You know, why are you leaving this nice job that you had and you want to do this? Those are really fun conversations to have. And if you really dig into what motivates people to do things, that's a conversation that's worth more than $1 million.
Most certainly, yeah. And there's a lot of life lessons that you can't even contain in a book.
That's correct. Yeah. So what motivates people to do things? What motivates any business owner, any CEO, a CFO, even the guy on the plant that's doing things? What motivates him? What makes him want to do great work with great quality and show up every day? That's really cool stuff.
So let me ask you that as a closing question. Like, what motivates you? You're 25 years into it. What still helps you to get up out of the bed and do this again?
So this is going to sound like a bunch of crap, but it's absolutely 100% true. I love what I do. I actually was fortunate enough, truly fortunate enough, to find something that I truly enjoy doing. I love manufacturing companies. For some reason, I love ERP software. Put it together with consulting and services around it. I love what I do. I get up earlier every day, and I'm thinking about our clients every day and how we could spread the word about the things we do. I truly love what I do. That's what gets me up every day. It may sound like a bunch of crap, but it's true. I truly love what I do. I love our team. I love our people. I love what we do, our brand in the marketplace, and I want to make sure it goes on longer than I'm going to, continue working.
Awesome. They say if you love what you do, you'll never work in a
Correct.
day.
Right.
I think that's the truth.
And I was lucky. I mean, I'll be the first to admit, I'd rather be lucky than good every day of the week. And I got lucky. I found something I truly love to do.
Awesome. Well, Joel, thanks again for joining me. I certainly appreciate the opportunity.
My pleasure. Thank you.
This episode of Coffee with Closers is brought to you by OneIMS, a leading digital marketing agency helping businesses win new customers. To request a free marketing ROI audit, please visit oneims.com. If you enjoyed this video, please share it. To make sure you never miss an episode, please subscribe.